Survivalist, now that you've moved to the coast, have you given up prepping, being prepared, and understanding that no matter where you live, SHTF is just around the corner? I mean, you were set up, dude, living in the mountains of western North Carolina, and now you move to the beach? Are you crazy? Have you lost your mind? Have you totally given up on being prepared? Don't you realize that we live in desperate times? And now you're in a precarious situation? You've moved into a desperate location? The beach? Guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about smart solutions for uncertain times. And no, I have not given up on being prepared. It is the focus of my life. It is not passé. It is not temporal. It's not a hobby. Indeed, it is a discipline that I want to talk about today. So don't go away. Well, did I throw you for a curve? Nah. Those of you that know me know that there isn't any place or any time or anywhere where I am not going to be focused on the principles that I garner in my life, physically and spiritually, that you should absorb. So I thought what I would do today, since we're relaunching the channel, We the People, is I would start augmenting and uploading and bringing you relevant content on the subject of survival. And today I want to begin with probably the foundational principles and the bedrock of why I became a prepper. The message and the instruction that I am about to give you is of my own teaching. It is a course curriculum. I have over 100 videos just on this sustainment approach. This is my system. Yes, I've adapted other strategies and other principles, but I have consolidated my approach to sustainment and survival in a nice, neat package. It's easy to compartmentalize. It's easy to understand. But not only that, it gives you a fluid approach on how you should be addressing these issues in your life, right? If you read the story in Genesis chapter 41, you'll come across a real crazy story. It's almost science fiction or fantasy. So, Pharaoh, living in Egypt, has this crazy dream with cows and crazy winds and fat cows, skinny cows. I mean, he's just perplexed by this dream. And he calls upon his magicians to help him interpret the dream, and nobody can understand this dream. So he comes and realizes that Joseph is a man of God and that perhaps he can interpret the dream. And Joseph comes. You've got to read the story. I don't want to read it. It's the whole chapter, but it's crazy. It's wonderful. It's encouraging. The Bible teaches preparation, guys. The Bible teaches that you and I should be prepared. So Joseph comes to Pharaoh and he says, "Look, Pharaoh, this is the deal. Okay, you're about to enter into a famine that's going to last 7 years. Imagine that. Imagine if you had the foreknowledge that famine was coming in 2026. Imagine if somebody who had the intuition, the insight, and the understanding to tell you that now that the Strait of Hormuz is closed and ships that contain all of the petrochemicals that we need to consume, build, manufacture, and produce, as well as the fertilizer that we need to grow the mass quantities of grain that this planet is consuming on an annual basis. You do realize that the food that you ate today was grown last year. Even if they were to open up the Strait of Hormuz tomorrow, it would still take over a year for the ripple effect to disseminate. We are living in an economic tsunami. That's right. What's happening right now in our life is under the waterline. We can't see it. There's a giant economic earthquake. It's a fission within the seabed of our life. And while the focus on our media and from this administration is one of we've got to prevent nuclear war, what they don't understand, and I think it'll take a genius in probably 3 or 4 years from now, you notice the government's always late. They're always late. Everything that they tell you costs trillions of dollars, and everything that they say never works. Right? It's almost comical. I feel like every single day I wake up, I'm living in idiocracy. So they're focused on preventing a Holocaust, nuclear Armageddon, when they don't realize that what they're about to run out of is going to kill the planet. How long will this famine last, preacher? I don't know. I imagine it's going to kill a lot of poor people. I do. Third world countries, as well as those who are living under the economic structure of sustainability in this country, absolutely. You're going to die if you're not prepared. Famine is a big deal, man. It's kind of one of those things that you need to pay attention to. Okay, preacher, so I get where you're going, and I really think what you're telling me today is I need to run to the grocery store and start hoarding up long-term survival food, right? Wrong. No, I think you've got, if you're disciplined and focused and you've got a little bit of cash laying around while it's still worth the paper it's printed on, or is it? No, actually it's not. Yes, this war is going to bring about hyperinflation and starvation. That's what this war is going to produce. And I wish we had some brainiacs up there in D.C. right now that could figure this out. But unfortunately, they're too focused on the short-term vision of maintaining power and control. That's all they're focused on. Power and control, and propping up the fake petrodollar by eliminating paying off our debts. You know, our founding fathers were pretty particular about making sure that when the Treasury borrows money, that those living during that time have the ability to pay off that debt so that we don't put an extreme burden on future generations. Well, we threw the baby out with the bathwater in 1913 with the creation of the Federal Reserve Act. Nixon didn't do us any favors when he basically made it a crime to buy, sell, and possess gold. So yeah, now we've got the Federal Reserve is going to just print our way out of this, right? They're just going to start up the printing presses. And I mean, I don't understand it. Maybe you guys don't take economics in high school, but just print more money. I got a funny story. When I was raising my children, this was back in the day when we were writing checks. This is before the digital age. We were living in an analog world, and we were trying to teach our children financial independence and responsibility and budgeting and yada, yada, yada. We had read Larry Burkett's book on financial freedom. And so we were trying to get out of debt, and we were trying to live in a very pragmatic and practical way and not just spending money like it's going out of style. And I remember my middle child coming to me one day, and we were trying to tell her that we didn't have the money to do what she wanted to do. And she said, "Well, I don't understand. Just write a check. You've got a checkbook. Just write a check." In the mind of a child, that's the way our government thinks. That's exactly the way our government thinks. Now, I don't want to turn this video into a rant, and I certainly don't want to exasperate your attention span. I want to try to keep this information clear, concise, and to the point. Right? So, let's talk about this morning smart solutions to uncertain times by giving you 6 key principles to survive. You should write this stuff down. I may share the manuscript to this video on my Google Drive. It's just going to depend on how many people follow the video. how many people subscribe, how many people are engaged. Right now we're starting up. We have very little exposure. I'm not sure what the algorithm is going to do. I'm sure there's certain words that I say in my presentation and in my video that scares the bejesus out of YouTube, and they're like, oh no, we can't let this guy get any bigger than he is right now because he's going to tell the truth, and we can't have that. No. You do know that right now our federal government, our local and state governments are in the process of creating a ministry of truth. That's right. In the future, all independent and alternative media reporters are going to have a credibility score. Yeah. California is in the process of passing that legislation right now. So you're going to be deemed fake news because all we're going to do is look at your verification score, your sustainment score, your credibility score. That's right. You know, they taught us when we were young, when we were making financial decisions, to make sure that we always maintained our credit score. Well, now we've moved into a society where not just your credit matters, but now your social standing in society matters. Can you imagine? So if they can deem you as misinformation or disinformation, if they can attack and target you and denounce your credibility by giving you a bad score, well, the average pea-brain person is going to only look at that. Well, they're not verified. Yeah. So-and-so, the court, the AI court, said that what they were talking about wasn't true. So, yeah, they're a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to listen to them. How many people were telling you during COVID, wake up? I mean, I lost my channel on YouTube because of preaching the truth on COVID. Lost my channel. They totally deplatformed me. And then I went to 3 other platforms and they deplatformed me. Everything that I was telling everyone in 2019 all the way up until March of 2020 was the truth, and nobody wanted to listen. I called all my friends and all my family, and I told everybody to run out and buy Mountain House food, stock up on water, and make sure you can protect yourself. And they all said, nah, Trump's got this. He's going to come up with a vaccine, and we're all going to save the world. Yeah. It's satisfying, isn't it? It's satisfying to know that the government's got this. All right, so let's talk about these 6 keys to survival. The first one, of course, is self-defense. Now, I can elaborate on all these 6 points. I could break them down and dissect them and get, under the thumbnail, and we can take a deep dive on all of these topics. But I want to try to give you just a 30,000-foot overview, and then maybe later on, depending on the response and the viewership of this message, maybe we'll get granular. Maybe we'll go really into this stuff. Like I said, I've got a lot of content out there that's relevant, it's true, but it's old. Is it stale? Does it need, some more sugar and salt and pepper on it? Maybe. So I'm going to try my best in real time to bring this information to you from time to time. But remember, guys, the focus of my channel right here is one of a spiritual foundation. Whereas on the Survivalist and Mountain Dew show, from time to time, I would bring a spiritual influence to the show, but it was pretty germane, and I'm not going to say secular, but I wasn't sharing scripture with you. And I've decided that in my life right now as a prophet, that's right, I don't foretell the future, I foretell the future. I'm going to take a bolder stand because I'm absolutely convinced that Revelation chapter 6 verse 12 is coming to a theater near you. All right, so let's talk about key number 1, and that is self-defense. Your understanding and your system has to incorporate offensive and defensive systems to include stealth, nighttime, and systems that make no sight, no sound, and no scent. Recce systems, urban assault systems, long range, hunting to include every aspect, and that also means ballistic protection with a minimum of level 3, or if you can afford, level 4. Understand that self-defense and the money that you spend, it needs to be a large portion of your budget. That's where you need to begin with becoming a prepper. The first thing you need to do is understand that they're out there right now, and when they recognize that you've got some stuff, they want to kick in your front door and take it from you, okay? In fact, you don't even have to wait for SHTF. They're doing that every single day. I mean, in New York City right now, the kids are stomping on little girls right now and crushing their skulls if they don't give them their phone number because they want to ask them out. You do realize that our world has gone apeshit crazy. You know that, right? Everyone on the planet right now is walking around in their own dystopian and myopic focus. And they don't understand. You come screw with me? You come kick in my door? I chuckle. I do. I chuckle. I absolutely chuckle. By the way, I'm excited to announce that I just put a binary trigger in one of my ARs. I sure did. First time I've ever done that. It wasn't that hard. And yes, it's legal. It most certainly is. It is right now. I mean, until we get the next administration, maybe not. You know, depends on what the ATF is thinking. You know, how does the wind blow? Are binary triggers legal or are they not? You know, you need to research that. Let's talk about the second key, and that is, of course, shelter. And shelter incorporates not just a roof over your head, but it deals with principles and strategies and approaches that help you understand that this is very important to maintain, both from a permanent position, temporary, bug out, as well as long-term, you know, a system that allows you to stay put. And that system has to include enough food and water and the ability to make fire and procure calories. Think about that. Everything that you need to garner fins, fur, and fruit. Fins, fur, and fruit should be part of your shelter understanding. You must be able to find and filter water, or guess what? You're gonna die. Yeah, doesn't that bless you? You're gonna die in 4 days, maybe less, depending on how much the humidity is. So if it's in the summertime, it might only take 3. Most survival situations that end in death, listen to me, bold statement, guys. Here we go. This is a key point I'm making. This is a highlight. This is something that you need to go, wait a minute, let me move closer to the speaker. Let me hear what he's about to say. I want you to understand something right now. The 2 leading causes of death in any survival situation are exposure and dehydration. Shelter is huge. Shelter is very, very important. Don't forget it. Number 3, survival clothing. And I sort of just boil this down and strip away the fat to help you to understand that you must be able to protect your head, your hands, and your feet. You must be able to stay warm and dry. And we could spend many, many videos talking about what type of survival clothing that you need. Okay? We could. But let's just keep it simple and to the point and concise, and that is, you got to stay warm and dry. You got to protect your head, your hands, and your feet. Most people, in building their survival systems, they don't think about footwear like they need to. Have you ever been on a hike? Have you ever had to walk further than the bathroom or the refrigerator? It's amazing. If your feet hurt, everything hurts in your life. I think you should spend a minimum of $300 on a good quality midsole, good hiking boot. Good hiking boot. Buy them. You're going to use them. I promise you. When this famine comes, you're going to have to go find food. How are you going to get there? Well, because it's a famine, there's no fuel. You're not going to get in your car, and you're certainly not going to go to the grocery store. You're going to walk. Guys, think about that. You need some good shoes. I like Lowa. L-O-W-A. One of the best hiking boots ever made. Number 4, sustainability. Now, I can summarize sustainability by helping you understand that sustainability is not about finances. Okay? That's how the capitalist world thinks right now, or even the socialist or communist world thinks. They think about sustainability from an economic standpoint, and I don't. I'm thinking like a pilgrim. I'm thinking like a pioneer. Sustainability to me is the tools. The tools, because guess what? I've got a bunch of stuff coming today from Amazon. I've got a trolling motor, something to mount on my kayak. I bought some golf clubs. I've got another 12-volt lithium battery coming for my boat. And it's all going to be delivered via Amazon, probably in one of those eco-friendly electric vans that are so cool, right? Because they They just plug them into the wall and that energy just magically appears. We have no idea where that electricity comes from. But one day Amazon is going to be closed. So if you don't have the tools, right? Knives, navigation, cooking, repairing, maintaining, crafting, and moving. Think rope, sharpening system, books, analog ways to increase your changes. Okay? Analog ways to increase your changes. Because your changes are going to come. And when those changes come, you need to supplement your chances of survival. And the way that you increase your sustainability ratio is by having the tools to be able to get you to that next level. You're either in a problem, coming out of a problem, or you just left one, or you're about to go into one, should I say. Think traps, nets, fishing, solar, comms, rope, the list goes on and on. This needs to be a major investment. The hunker-down, consumption-based approach to survival only gives you enough time. It only gives you enough time until you run out, right? Until you run out, then what? You have to think like a farmer, engineer, doctor, mechanic, and frontiersman. Master those trade skills. You know, back in the day when Biden was the fake president, he was telling everybody to learn to code, right? No. If you really want the truth today in 2026, don't learn to code. Learn how to grow your own food, right? Think like your grandparents or your great-grandparents used to think. You'll go a long way. Can you fix stuff that's broken? Are you intuitive? Do you have a mechanical aptitude? All that information is on the internet, guys. There's no reason why you cannot become smarter than AI right now. There's nothing in the world that you can't learn. I mean, we're supposed to believe that even back during 9/11, these pilots that crashed these planes into the World Trade Center learned how to fly 747s by playing video games, right? And Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's where they got their training, online. Yeah. Your online degree. Guys, there's no reason why you can't just get a basic medical kit, a basic, medical and homeopathic approach to healing, medication. I'm all natural, guys. I'm all natural. Number 5, we got to move quickly. Sanitation. I can't emphasize this enough in this video, but yes, it is in the middle. It is most certainly in the middle. But as one who has spent many days in the wilderness, living in extreme and terrible conditions. There's a story of me and my father and my uncle living in the mountains of Colorado, off-grid at 10,000 feet. And we had a homemade shelter. We had a storage bag of water that we'd hang in a tree, and we'd heat it up through a solar system. And every once in a while, water was something you had to go get down the mountain, and it was a chore. I mean, the average person uses over 5 gallons of water a day, but how easy is it just to flip the faucet, right? Well, when you're in an off-grid situation and you're out there in the woods and you got to poop, pee, and shower and change and brush your teeth and clean yourself, water's a commodity. And I can tell you that there was nothing more satisfying to me when I was in that remote situation for a very long time, that every once in a while we'd spend an hour, and that's how long it would take to get off the mountain, and we'd drive down to the local KOA campground down there, and it was a switchback dirt road, over an hour drive. I mean, we were out in God's country in Colorado. And we'd spend $3 for a hot shower, because KOA lets you go in and use the showers. A lot of you truckers know that. In fact, you can join a gym membership right now. It's cheap. There's some gyms that are like Planet Fitness. If you're homeless, I mean, I saw it when I was in Asheville. I saw it. I'd go to the gym every day, and there'd be homeless guys in there asking me for soap. Hey, man, you got any soap? They weren't hitting the weights. They were in there washing their skanky butts. That's what they were doing. Yeah. Everything that you need to focus on in a survival situation needs to mitigate bacteria. Bacteria is going to kill you. It is. You think getting thirsty and freezing to death's a bad deal? Wait till you get staph, or impetigo, or MRSA. Yeah. Yeah, don't that sound like fun? All right, number 6. I want to wrap this up. I would include items that allow you to barter. Solace are those things that help you understand that you need a psychological advantage in survival. A psychological advantage. Yes, survival is the battle of the mind. And if you can conquer the fear, the doubt, and the uncertainty in your mindset, you're going to have a leg up in survival, because we're so lazy and we're so accustomed, and we're, quite frankly, as Americans, and I don't know about you Brits and you Canadians, but we've become kind of lazy. We've become kind of dependent on Big Brother, haven't we? Yep. Think creature comforts. Think your ID, photos, a thumb drive of your personal documents, maybe music. Get your Bible. Maybe one day you're going to want to read Genesis chapter 41. Get your Bible. Bring that with you. And maybe some redundancy with your survival clothing if you've got weight. If you've got the weight, if you have the allowance in your physical ability, like your health is going to be a detriment. If you can't put on 20-pound backpack, you're screwed. You better know a lot, because what I've learned is the more you know, the less you need. I got a funny story. One year my dad and I were hunting in Georgia, and he hadn't hunted in 30 years, and he was fat, dumb, and lazy. All he did was drink sweet tea and sit on the couch and watch the boob tube, because he had DirecTV and 560 channels. Of course, there was never anything to watch. And he called me one day and he said, "Son, I want to go deer hunting with you this year. I want to go back to the days where we used to go out and do this stuff." And I'm like, "Dad, you're kind of old, man. You don't even walk to the mailbox. You jump in your golf cart." "Yeah, I'm going to start exercising and walking." And I said, "You understand that deer hunting is hard. You got to be in shape, man. Not only are you carrying a 20-pound rifle, but you're going to have a backpack and a deer stand on you. If you can't carry 80 pounds, you're not going to go hunting with me." He goes, "Well, maybe not 80 pounds, but I'll be ready." Dude, let me tell you, we got there and my wife was with me. She had 80 pounds. I had 80 pounds. We had to give the old man 12 pounds. And we got halfway into the stand and he's over there yelling at me going, "What'd you put in this backpack, bricks?" I'm like, "No, man, it's 12 pounds, brother. It's 12 pounds. Yeah. So if you have the allocation in your system, maybe some redundancy. Think of those creature comfort items. There's nothing more encouraging than to put on a brand new pair of socks, right? Remember I was talking about your feet earlier? People don't think about how important your feet are. I'm telling you, your feet are huge in survival. Nothing more comforting to put on a nice pair of merino wool socks. Yes, buy merino, not cotton. Remember, guys, in survival, cotton kills. Wool is your friend. It'll keep you warm while it's wet, right? To summarize, your thought process needs to focus and address that each time you move away from permanent structure, society, sustainment, and motorized traffic to temporary shelter, isolation, hunting, and gathering to travel on foot, then you will need to begin to realize that a true survival system represents the following foundation. And I've sort of adapted the 6 keys to survival with these 3 foundational principles that if you take care of your body, your mind, and your soul, or your spirit, man, you're going to have the arsenal that you need. Let me just define these real quick, because your body, that's what it's going to come down to. Your body, your physical health. What shape are you in? What can you carry? Because in survival, long-term survival, only what you can carry is going to matter. So your body has to be extremely, extremely taken care of. Mind, only what you know, learn, and practice increases your chances. Only what you know, learn, and practice. When is the last time you practiced making a ferrocerium fire? Or flint and steel? Or when's the last time you made char cloth? Or when's the last time you filtered water? Do you know that I can make a fire with pee? Sure can. I can make a fire with pee. One day I'll show you a video on how to do that. Your soul, having an awakening that God will provide. Denial is not a river in Africa, guys. And the sooner you capture that it is your responsibility to survive, not the government, then the preparedness strategies that you take today will only promote of peace of mind. Thanks for watching. Till next time, be safe.